The Underwater Coffin, October 31st, 1990, in Fresno, California. Joseph Burris was 32 years old when he attempted a buried-alive escape. He was a professional magician looking to revive public interest in large escape stunts. The performance was meant to recreate a famous Houdini-style burial escape and draw media attention. Burris was placed inside a transparent plastic coffin. His hands and feet were restrained. The coffin was sealed shut. The plan was simple. He would be buried underground, break free from the restraints, and escape before running out of air. The stunt began in the afternoon at a local construction site. The coffin was lowered into a narrow pit. Workers began pouring concrete and dirt on top. Almost immediately, the weight exceeded expectations. The coffin was not designed to support the pressure. As the concrete settled, the structure began to bend inward. Within seconds, the coffin collapsed. The plastic walls caved in under the weight of the concrete and soil. Burris was trapped with no room to move. Witnesses realized something was wrong and called for help. Construction crews and emergency responders rushed to dig him out. The concrete made excavation slow and difficult. By the time the coffin was uncovered, Burris was already dead. He had been crushed inside the coffin before rescue crews could reach him. Joseph Burris was pronounced dead at the scene. Investigators later determined that the materials used in the stunt were inadequate for the weight placed above them. No mechanical escape system was available once the coffin failed. The incident was widely reported in the media. It became one of the most cited examples. The car escape. In 1988, escape artist Tommy Windsor attempted a car submersion escape during a public demonstration in Australia. The stunt involved a standard passenger vehicle positioned near deep water. Windsor was placed inside the car and restrained with chains. The restraints were meant to be released once the vehicle submerged. The plan was for the car to sink slowly. As water entered, Windsor would free himself and exit before the cabin fully flooded. The escape began as scheduled. The car rolled into the water and began to sink. Water entered through the doors and windows. Inside the vehicle, visibility dropped rapidly as sediment and air bubbles filled the cabin. As the water level rose, Windsor attempted to activate the release mechanism. The mechanism failed. The chains did not disengage. Water pressure increased against the doors, making them impossible to open from the inside. The electrical system shut down as the cabin flooded. Within moments, the interior of the vehicle was completely dark. Above the surface, observers realized the escape was taking longer than expected. Rescue crews moved toward the vehicle. By the time divers reached the submerged car, it had settled deeper than planned. The doors could not be opened immediately due to pressure. Tools were used to force entry. When rescuers finally reached Windsor, he was unresponsive. He had drowned inside the vehicle before he could be freed. Emergency responders pronounced him dead at the scene. The incident drew attention to the risks of vehicle-based escape stunts. Investigators noted that once submerged, even a brief mechanical failure left no time for correction. Following the incident, similar car escape acts were reduced or heavily modified to include external safety overrides. The razor swallow. In the 1920s, magician Alec Raymond was known for performing a razor blade swallowing trick as part of a stage act. The illusion was presented as a test of control and precision. Raymond would display several razor blades to the audience. One by one, he appeared to swallow them. Moments later, he would retrieve the blades intact. The trick depended on sleight of hand and careful positioning. The blades were meant to be hidden or guided in a controlled way. At no point were they supposed to pass fully into the throat. During one performance, something went wrong. As Raymond attempted to swallow, a blade slipped past its intended position. It entered his throat for real. There was no immediate sign of panic. The audience did not realize anything was wrong. Inside his body, the blade cut internal tissue. Severe bleeding began almost immediately. Raymond started to lose strength on stage. He collapsed before the act could be completed. Emergency assistance was called. He was taken for medical treatment, but the injuries were too severe. The razor blade had caused extensive internal damage. Blood loss could not be controlled. Alec Raymond later died from his injuries. Medical examination confirmed that the blade had perforated vital tissue in his throat and chest area. The injury was consistent with a sharp object entering the esophagus. After incidents like this, the razor swallowing trick became increasingly controversial. Medical professionals warned that even minor mistakes could be fatal. Many performers abandoned the act, recognizing that the margin for error was extremely small. The trick remained known as one of the most unforgiving illusions ever attempted. The theater tragedy, April 15, 1984. 63 years old magician and comedian Tommy Cooper was performing live on British television at Her Majesty's Theatre in London. The program was broadcast nationwide. The audience was full. The show was proceeding as planned. Cooper was midway through his act when he began to move unsteadily across the stage. He stood behind a stage prop curtain. Seconds later, he collapsed. From the audience's perspective, nothing seemed unusual. Cooper was known for clumsy movements and deliberate mistakes. The collapse appeared consistent with his comedic style. The audience laughed. Behind the curtain, Cooper lay motionless. He was not acting. Crew members offstage initially believed the fall was part of the routine. There was no immediate interruption to the broadcast. Several moments passed. Eventually, concern spread among the stage crew. Medical assistance was requested. The broadcast continued briefly while technicians attempted to assess the situation. Then the program cut away to a commercial break. By that point, Cooper had suffered a massive heart attack. Paramedics arrived and attempted resuscitation. Their efforts were unsuccessful. Tommy Cooper was pronounced dead shortly afterward. The incident marked one of the most widely viewed on-air deaths in British television history. It also highlighted how performance personas can obscure real medical emergencies. Following the tragedy, live broadcast protocols were reviewed. Producers were instructed to treat unexpected collapses as medical events until proven otherwise. The coffin tragedy. During the 1930s, British magician Charles Rowan was known for performing buried-alive escape acts at public exhibitions and traveling shows. The stunt was simple in design. Rowan would be sealed inside a wooden coffin. The coffin would be lowered several feet underground. An air tube would supply oxygen while he escaped. On the night of the incident, the performance took place outdoors. Rain earlier in the day had left the ground wet and compact. Rowan was placed inside the coffin and the lid was secured. The air tube was positioned to extend from the coffin to the surface. Workers began filling the pit with soil. As the dirt settled, pressure increased rapidly. The wet soil packed tightly around the coffin. The air tube began to bend under the weight. Within minutes, it collapsed completely. With the tube blocked, oxygen inside the coffin dropped quickly. Rowan attempted to free himself, but space was limited. The weight of the soil pressed down on the coffin lid, restricting movement. Above ground, the burial appeared normal. No distress signal was visible. The crowd continued watching, assuming the act was proceeding as planned. Minutes passed. When assistants became concerned and began digging, progress was slow. The compacted soil was heavy and difficult to remove. By the time the coffin was uncovered, Rowan was unresponsive. The lid was opened. He had suffocated inside the coffin. Medical responders confirmed he had been dead for hours. The cause of death was listed as asphyxiation due to air supply failure. Following the incident, buried-alive illusions became far less common in professional magic. Many performers quietly abandoned the act altogether. The bullet catch. On the night of March 23, 1918, magician Chung Ling Soo was performing at the Wood Green Empire Theatre in London. He was scheduled to perform his most famous illusion, known as the bullet catch. The trick involved real rifles. Audience members would inspect the weapons. A marked bullet would be shown. The gun would be fired directly at him on stage. Sue would then reveal the bullet caught in his mouth. The illusion depended on carefully modified firearms and strict procedures. The bullets were supposed to be rendered harmless. The rifle was meant to fire only a blank charge. Earlier that day, Sue had rehearsed the trick. During rehearsal, a real bullet failed to exit the barrel properly. It remained lodged inside the rifle. The barrel was checked visually, but the obstruction went unnoticed. That night, when the trigger was pulled on stage, the blank charge ignited. The force propelled the lodged bullet forward. The bullet struck Chung Ling Soo directly in the chest. The audience did not immediately realize what had happened. For a moment, Sue remained standing. Then, for the first time in his career, he broke character. He spoke in English, abandoning the silent persona he had maintained for decades. "Oh my God, something has happened. Lower the curtain." The curtain was dropped. Sue collapsed behind it. He was rushed to the hospital with severe internal injuries. The bullet had punctured his lung. Chung Ling Soo died the following day from internal bleeding. The investigation confirmed that a real bullet had been fired from the rifle. After his death, the bullet catch gained a reputation as the most dangerous illusion in magic history. Many professional magicians permanently removed it from their acts.